Hi everyone and welcome to SEMA. SEMA stands for Spooky Ask Me Anything, where we invite someone to talk about an area of expertise of their choosing. Today we have Sebastien Mercier to talk about how he overcame Lyme. This webinar is being hosted in his home, and I just wanted to show you the view from his house before we start the webinar. So let's have a look outside. Sebastien lives in France. He lives just a stone's throw away from Paris. Here you can see the River Seine that's flowing gently past his home. In the distance you can see houseboats where people live their lives with their gardens. They have both vegetables and fruit growing on these houses. You'll see some high-rise buildings and some hills in the background. So this is the fantastic view that Sebastien has from his apartment. And Sebastien has been very generous in hosting the webinar we have today. He also was hosting a Spooky2 conference yesterday, and so that was he's a wonderful man. Now, Sebastien, I'd like to invite you in now, so talk to our viewers. Hello, Sebastien.
Good morning.
Now, I can't say nice to meet you now because I've met you a few days ago for the very first time. You were one of our very first, if not the first person to buy something that was spooky. When Spooky first started out, we were very small, and I believe that Sebastien was the very first person who ordered a spooky remote. This was way in the early days. There was no spooky pulse, and so it was very grassroots back then. And so thank you for your support, Sebastien, and I believe during the talk today you're going to talk about how you used spooky remote and other ways of healing yourself, or at least reducing significantly the effects that Lyme has on your life. Because looking at you now, you're fit and strong. It's hard to believe that you at one time were very sick. So we have a few questions that have come in from these users. Viewers, if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask them while we're holding this webinar, and we'll answer them either during the webinar or afterwards. The first question that's just sneaked in now is, how do I use Spooky2 to diagnose my Lyme disease? And you, how did you know you had Lyme?
I was not sure at the beginning because I felt sick, so I went to see doctors, and during 14 months, they tried to see what was wrong with me, and did not believe I had Lyme because the blood tests were negative. But they tried to see if I've got something else, and they didn't find anything obvious. So after these 14 months, seeing that they will not establish a diagnostic, I decided to go through my ideas that I have Lyme, and I've got to take care of myself. So I've get rid of the doctors and tried to know how to heal from Lyme disease.
Right. The main purpose behind these webinar sessions is to empower people with knowledge, and so anything that you can give to our viewers will be of great benefit. And so if you can explain in detail just how you overcame the hurdles, both with the medical establishment and with your own personal issues, to overcome your ill health, to become back to the strong person you are now, will be great. The doctors, did they, you mentioned that their diagnosis of Lyme is not always precise. You mentioned that earlier. Why do you say that?
It's something that is established that the blood tests are not so good because they are looking for bacteria that are not from this country, but American bacteria, for example. And they are looking for not the bacteria, but the reaction of the body against bacteria. So they are not looking for the bacteria. They are looking for a reaction. If the body is strict, the body can't see the bacteria, then there is no reaction. This is why some blood tests will get back negative.
But I thought that microscopes could see the bacteria directly.
They are not using microscope. It's just blood test for reaction, chemical. I don't know how they do the blood test, but they are not using this microscope.
So they're detecting it in an indirect way.
Yeah, that's the way.
And so really, I guess if your body isn't having a reaction to the Lyme, you're going to be Lyme negative.
That's it. There are two tests in France. So you have to go positively through the first one before you have to have this second one.
Right.
And only if the second one is positive as well, then the doctor would believe you have Lyme disease.
Right.
So you have to go through two tests positively to be believed.
So I guess not many people are diagnosed with Lyme then.
No, it's not. That's it. That's the problem with it.
Okay, so how did you come to realize that you had Lyme?
As an hiker, I know that I've met many ticks.
Yes.
And the symptoms fits that way, the disease and what I have. I don't add all the symptoms, of course, but I have so many that it has to be something near Lyme.
Right, okay. So you suspected that maybe Lyme is the cause of your conditions.
And because doctor didn't find anything else, that was important because they have tools that I don't have, and they didn't find anything wrong with me. Seeing that Lyme tests are not good, it's still something that can be the cause of my sickness.
So the doctors had tools that you didn't have, but you did have some tools. Can you explain how you used the tools that you had to decide that you had Lyme?
As a doctor couldn't decide what I had, I tried other methods to heal myself, and I've discovered this Rife frequency things.
Yes.
And by treating myself during 2 months, I have seen that it was less and less bad. So it was a kind of proof that treating Lyme disease with other tools, Rife frequencies, it helped me. So it, in a way, diagnosed that I have Lyme.
Okay. And so you felt you weren't getting the treatment from the doctors. You decided to take things into your own hands. How long was it? What was the duration between when you started feeling sick and from when you started treating yourself?
Is it 14 months?
Okay, that time you were talking about before.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's quite a long time for Lyme to get into your body and get everywhere.
It was inside my body from many years before, in fact.
Really? Oh.
But before, I was not that sick. I had just some muscle pain. It could have been because I'm doing a lot of sport.
Yes.
So I not ignore it, but it could be part of my everyday life. And it was easily, I can deal with it because it was not that bad.
And I guess your natural fitness sort of overcame many of these.
Maybe, yeah.
And maybe as part of your training you get sore muscles anyway. So, so that's right. It'll be hard to know whether it was caused by a disease.
Yeah. And you don't expect to be sick.
No.
So
no. Well, how do you get Lyme?
So you can get Lyme from ticks when you go in a forest, for example. This is a very small bug that is waiting for animals or humans, and they stick to your body and they are looking for your blood, and they carry a lot of bacteria and Borrelia, of course, for Lyme disease, and many other bacteria.
Right. Okay, so if someone gets a bite from a tick and they think they may get Lyme as a result, can they treat themselves very quickly using antibiotics and overcome?
They should, because this is the only way antibiotics are very good for, because it can get rid of Lyme in the very first days of bite. So this is a way to treat Lyme when you have been bitten by a tick.
In your opinion, Sebastien, if you get bitten by a tick, should someone get it done anyway, even if there's no reaction to a bite?
I'm not so sure, because antibiotic is not small drugs.
That's right. It will disrupt your body.
There is, in one case for two, there is this circle, a red circle around the bite. So if you have this, you definitely should go to a doctor and ask for antibiotic treatment. It's only a 10 days treatment, and it's very effective.
Right. You were saying earlier I was asking you questions 2:30 in the morning to make sure that the audio and video is working. Of course, on the morning of the interview, things don't turn out as they did before. But you were saying that when you got your bite from the tick, you did not get a rash around that bite.
I did not have that. And I don't know which tick gave me Lyme disease, because it was running in my body for years before it get bad for me. I had some muscle pain, but as I jog often, maybe it was because I do sport a lot, so I didn't pay attention to this pain in the back. Okay. And it was easy to don't think about it, because it was not that much during years.
Can you, just thinking back of the time when you did find that you got bitten by ticks, what were you doing at that time?
Sometimes you are bitten by ticks without notice it, and the tick goes off naturally by itself.
Okay, yes.
So I remember one day when I was walking in Bretagne, in west of France, I found 5 ticks on my legs. So I get rid of them because I knew by the time it was dangerous.
Yes.
You don't feel the bite of a tick. Apparently there is something special. It's not like a mosquito.
Yes. Okay. So when you found you had been bitten by the ticks, you removed the ticks, but you didn't take any antibiotics or any precautions then?
No, I was not aware about Lyme disease at the time.
Right. And so over the course of a few years after that, you felt the symptoms stronger, or how long did it take until you started feeling unwell?
It has last about 5 or 6 years with this muscle pain, but it was very easy to forget it. And after these 5 or 6 years, I was tired after the night. So this is when I've decided that it's not good, and I have to consider myself as sick.
Right. So how long did it take between finding the ticks on your leg and you beginning to feel sick?
It depends on person, or maybe the ticks.
Okay.
It can be days or years.
And in your case, how long was that?
Years.
Years. Gosh. And then you recall the time when you went tramping and you found there's 5 ticks on your leg. It's terrible. Now, once you started feeling unwell and with low energy and concentration problems, what did you do at that stage?
I went to see a doctor.
Yes.
The way I'm used to do things when I feel sick. Go to a doctor, and without just explaining how I feel, without telling him what he should do.
And what did the doctor do?
They sent me to another doctor with many exams, blood tests, and that's all they do without explaining. Sometimes they explain that just looking for the right disease, of course, but Lyme was not an option for them.
Right.
Even in 2011.
Lyme seems to have been denied by the medical establishment, well, not all medical, but certainly most of the mainstream doctors seem to think it's something that does not exist.
That's the case in France anyway.
In France, I think it's a global thing. Whenever I type in, as another example, the word Morgellons, it comes up as an unknown word in Microsoft Word. So they've chosen that, to ignore that word, and much as the medical establishment has as well. So now I first met you, Sebastien, just a few days ago when we came to Paris as part of a European tour. Sebastien, you come across as someone with remarkable energy, and so obviously you've done something to overcome your tiredness and your lack of strength and lack of focus. Now, Sebastien, he's a very smart man, and so I want to ask you, when you felt that you weren't getting the help from the doctors, and you were feeling that physically you're losing your strength, your mental focus, what did you do?
I've read about Lyme disease. I tried to find by myself some treatment that do not need doctors to be given. And one of the books I remember is the one of Brian Rosner, US writer, and he explained in his book methods to get rid of Lyme, and this is where I've learned about Rife treatment. And olive oil, I didn't know about not olive oil, sorry, essential oil.
Oh, yes.
As you do not need prescription for this, it was something that I can do by myself. So I decided to do both at the beginning, to try a Rife machine and to try this essential oil. The Rife machine can be very expensive, so I tried to look for a cheaper Rife machine. And this is where my background was useful, because I'm an electronics guy, and for me a frequency is a frequency, whatever generated. So I was not afraid to use a computer with its sound card, which is pretty much affordable. I've got some computer at home, many computers. So it was easy to try, just to be sure that it can work. So with software like Audacity, I've built some audio frequencies and tried in a contact mode, because it was the easiest way to do it. Sure, the computer sound card is not powerful enough, so I've used MP3 audio amplifier to get enough power for the contact mode.
Yeah, it's quite ingenious.
Simple, in fact, but yeah. And it worked. I've seen in 2 months that I was better, not better, it was less bad than before. After these 2 months, I was not well at all, but I feel it was better.
Great.
So after these first 2 months of Rife with a contact mode and using the computer sound card, I've received every essential oil, and during 6 months I've done both Rife machine and essential oil. Can't say essential oil has done anything good. So it was not better during these 6 months. It was not worse, of course, but not better. The thing that was worse was my bank account, because it's very expensive, this essential oil.
Which oils were you using?
It was essential oils from Codeine Protocol, which is a protocol described by an American doctor. And you can find many descriptions of this on a website. Cowden, C-O-W-D-E-N.
Right. So you started treating yourself for Lyme. It's quite a positive step. How long? You just trying to get a time frame here. You're seeing doctors and you're feeling that you are being not really looked after by these doctors. How long after that did you start treating yourself?
14 months.
Gosh.
So it was 1 year, a little bit than 1 year, when I've seen me getting worse and worse. It was really bad for me at the end. I can't remember what I've done a few hours before. Walking more than 100 meters was very difficult, and I'm a hiker, so I really like to be outside to hike in the countryside. So it was bad for my perception. I feel depressed, in fact.
Yes, I can believe so. I mean, you're looking at you now, it's hard to imagine you in such a state. So whatever you've done has worked.
And this was a proof that Lyme was, I was concerned by Lyme. After these 2 months, it was less worse than before, so my hypothesis was good, in fact.
Okay. So now the nuts and bolts. You thought you had Lyme. How did you approach the treatment? How did you know what co-infections you have? Because Lyme consists of many different types of...
As I knew about nothing about Lyme, I've discovered that there is this Borrelia bacteria, and this is the one I've treated myself again with a Rife machine. But after 10 months, it was getting better. But after these 10 first months of treatment, I was feeling worse, suddenly worse. So I tried to understand, was it my Rife machine? Was it something else? And I've discovered that there are many other bacteria coming with a Lyme infection. So I had to give a try for these other bacteria to know if it was one of them that making me sicker again. So by this time, Spooky was born, by the way, and I was using Spooky. It was in late of 2013, yes.
I think you're one of the very first people who bought the very first Spooky accessory when Spooky was very first born. Because I remember your name. I remember writing your name on the envelope and sending it to you in the little yellow packet. And so I've known Sebastien indirectly and from a distance for a while. But it's the timing was quite funny, isn't it? Because it's just at that time when you're looking at using frequencies as a form of treatment, or you've been using the MP3 with the computer. What software did you use before the MP3?
To generate frequency. First it was Audacity, which is a free software to generate a frequency and signal at the frequency you want, and you can choose your waveform.
Yes.
But it was not hard, but it was some job to make the audio for every frequency. So I've discovered that someone has made a software to help you to make it smooth. It was Frex 16, and you just choose the program and frequency goes from the one to the next one. So it was easier for me. I just have to wait, keeping the contact in my hands.
Did you plug the computer into your stereo and then hold on to the speaker wires?
Yes, and as it's a stereo, I could use both line. So I use contact mode for foot and other contact mode for hands at the same time. So I had a contact mode with 4 pads.
We're talking to a technical person here, which is which is good. And why did you go from Frex to Spooky?
A computer sound card can't go higher than 20 kilohertz. So it's good enough, but I've seen in databases or in websites that there exist frequencies that are useful against Lyme disease and that are higher than 20 kilohertz. So it was limited. It works well, but it is limited. And so when I've seen that spooky things, the first amazing thing is this remote transmission. So I've tried this remote transmission with this Frex software. I just built a remote of myself. At the time it was just two slices of metal,
yes.
And you put the nail between the slice of metal. And I've seen that it works. The principle works even from this Frex 716 software. So I've decided that as the solution works, as I wanted to get free of the computer during treatment, you have to stay near the computer if you want a treatment with the contact mode. So I've decided to invest. I can't say invest that much. It was $58 by the time. It still is $58.
Oh, we don't believe in inflation.
Okay, so it was not expensive, and as Spooky software was developed by you, thank you, and it was the same easy things to use it. So it was nice and it works.
Okay.
It freed me from the contact mode, so it was better. I can do more treatment. So it's smoother, it's less effective, but as you can multiply it during the day, it's about the same at the end.
That's right. It is slower.
Which is good because it means that your body shouldn't have to get rid of a toxin that fast.
Yes.
So it's a good thing, in fact, for Lyme disease, likely, because it has to take some time to get rid of the toxin.
Right. Now, what our viewers won't realise, but looking at us, you wouldn't think that you're actually 30 years younger than me. But there you go. You're the figure of health now. Now, just going back, you've started to treat yourself. What method did you choose? Because of course you've got to find out which species of Borrelia you have, and did you do sections at a time in part of your diagnosis, your self-diagnosis?
As I knew by the time that there are many bacteria coming with Lyme disease, with Borrelia, I've decided to try every bacteria one at a time to be sure that if a program dealing with this specific bacteria gives some reaction in my body, then it should mean that I've had it. So I've taken the 6 or 5 bacteria coming commonly with Lyme disease, and I didn't treat myself for 1 week. I treat only one of them, for example, Bartonella, during 2 days, for example. And during the few days after this specific treatment, I listen to my body. If there were reactions, then it proves that I've got this one as well. So I've done this for every bacteria, and I've diagnosed me with Borrelia, of course, Bartonella, Ehrlichia, and that's it. I've got these 3 bacteria inside me.
It's quite ingenious. It's low technology, but it's smart. You don't need any extra hardware to determine which strains you've got infections of, and it's just a process of elimination. So that's quite smart. But it must have been quite a long process.
It was long to do this, because you have to accept to do not treat yourself for by what works. You have to be sure that there is no interference with other treatments. So
Yes.
I've got to wait for a few days before I want to treat a specific bacteria. So it's something that is quite demanding, because you know the common treatment do you well, but for 7 days you don't touch it.
It must be quite difficult, because you I guess you're just wanting to get rid of Lyme just completely and get over it. But you've got to have some form of self-discipline, allowing yourself to get sick for a week, which I don't recommend that our viewers do, but it's kind of a smart thing to do, I guess, if you're into sore muscles and brain fog. So you must have quite a lot of natural discipline. Perhaps in your sports, you've learned how to push yourself to achieve a certain goal. Now, you gave, when you were discussing about the Cowden essential oils, you found that they didn't really have much benefit for you. Why do you think that was?
Because I was the same way I'm listening my body when frequency is working. When I start the Coden protocol, nothing bad or worse or nothing happened. And when I stop the Coden protocol, nothing happened. It was like I didn't do anything. So it was not bad, it was not good.
Okay. Do you remember which essential oils were part of the Cowden protocols?
No. There were so many. No, I can't remember.
Okay, but it's, the information is available. I guess you can do a search on the internet for the Cowden, the COWDEN protocol. I've heard of. I did a search for that website before, and it seems to be of benefit. So maybe because you were physically very fit at the time, there wasn't much benefit in making you more fitter. So maybe if someone is more sedate, hasn't got the same level of fitness as Sebastien, then the essential oils may be a good way to complement other treatments. Okay, were there any other methods you're using? You're at the beginning using the essential oils from the Cowden protocol, and you're using Spooky. Was there any other things that you're using?
No.
Okay, that's a good quick answer. Okay, what type of did you choose when you're choosing the programs that were within Spooky? Did you just do a search for the names of the bacteria that you're infected with, or did you use any particular? I think in the very early days when you started using Spooky, we didn't have presets as we do now. But were there any protocols that were set up that you followed?
I've used waveforms that was for killing. This is known already that if you have harmonic inside a waveform, it will be harder against bacteria. So I use these common waveforms that were well known to kill. So it was not preset, of course, but
okay.
Spooky one, there were way to record what you needed.
Okay.
Just by going to the files.
Yes.
I'm an IT guy, so it was easy for me to record.
Okay.
It was not documented. It was not the way of Spooky one was working, but just by renaming the file to the kernel.
Yes.
And that was enough to remember programmation I've done.
Okay, so you keep a record of all the programs you've run.
I keep this thing on a paper as well. And I've got 4 years of paper here written by Anne, nearly unreadable, but
yes.
It helped me a lot.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these papers are for only yourself to read, and you can read your own handwriting. And there's certainly not going to be anyone going through the spelling later and marking that. Were there any standard protocols that you followed?
From the forum, I've discovered this modular protocol with many bacteria that were part of Lyme disease. So I decided to try it. And inside this protocol, the detox was something very important. And I discovered that that's something I didn't do because I was not aware about detox and the importance of that. I'm lucky to have a body that can deal with it naturally, but having some help is always useful. So inside the Marjolon protocol from Spooky Forum, I've discovered a true way to treat my disease. And it was like as if it is a doctor that is prescribing me how to deal with Lyme disease. So I've done this Marjolon
protocol, yes.
Twice, I can't remember exactly. And each time I feel really better after this session. It's a long session. It's something like 20 days if you go through every steps. And there is this heavy metals detox, which is important. I was not aware about that at the beginning. Of course, I'm not a doctor. So following this protocol was very useful for me. I've learned a lot. I've learned methods, and it was good for being better.
Wonderful.
I didn't go through the end of the protocol because at the end it was virus or bacteria that did not deal with Lyme disease. So the 20 last percent, I've never done them.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I mean, why treat something you haven't got? Is this way, wasting precious time?
Yes.
Did you try any? Oh, I wanted to ask you, where can viewers get this information on the Morgellons protocol? Is that on the Spooky Forum?
They're inside the presets.
Oh, in the presets now.
And I've translated it in French. It should be available soon with the new interface of Spooky. You have to stop changing the interface. It's a lot of work to follow.
Yes, I understand. So I'll take that on board.
Thank you.
Did you try any sweeps as part of your?
I did, and I was not so. I tried it twice, and each time I feel worse during 1 week. So I do not use it more than that, and I don't use it. I don't want to use it because it's. I feel bad after, really bad, and there is no benefits for me. Don't care feeling bad if it's for better.
Okay.
But it was not better even after.
Okay. Now, you were using a combination of contact and remote?
No, only remote.
Only remote?
Yeah, only remote. I've discovered this cold laser transmission, which is very good for the back pain I had 1 year ago.
Okay.
But it was the only one contact session I had since a very long time. I really appreciate this remote thing. I don't know what it works, but it's like a gift that someone gave us, so I take it.
No one really knows how they work. Now I see you healthy and strong and you're as sharp as a razor. How do you still continue your treatment?
I do, because I've discovered last summer that if I don't, I get sick and sicker. And I finished in July in hospital because I couldn't move myself. I was lie down and couldn't get up. So I finished in a hospital. And I've seen doctors that couldn't understand what I had. They thought about I can't pronounce the name in English.
Sadden French. We've got plenty of French for us.
Sorry.
What's the French word?
Hernie discale. You know, yeah.
Oh, on the back, on the disc, a back problem with the disc located.
That's it. So they thought it was that, but the ERM helped me again.
The MRI.
Yes, it was clean, so obviously I didn't have any back problem. When they wanted to treat me with some colloidal treatment, I said, not colloidal, it's corticoid treatment. I said no because I got some bacteria inside me, and there were not peas that I said no to a treatment. But they didn't understand me. I didn't understand them either. And I was lucky to have a neighbor, Bruno, that lived here, and at 6 in the morning I called him by phone and asked him to go to my flat and plug me inside the remote and give me some treatment from my house. So strangely it was better just a few hours after.
A few hours, gosh, by the night.
I was in holiday and it finished badly for me.
Sorry to hear that.
So since then I've understood the lesson, and every 3 days, even if I don't feel the need, I apply these good frequencies that are good for me, even if it's not, even if I don't feel the need, so to be sure. And it's good since these 10 last months, it's good things to do. During the treatment, during the day I treat myself, I get a little bit tired. But having this 2 day off after, it's quite good every day.
Yes. So it's possible that over maybe in a year's time, you've eliminated Lyme completely.
I hope so.
It's hard to think that, looking at you now, you are very fit. That not so long ago you're in hospital on your back, unable to move. Gosh. Now you got interviewed already by a reporter because you made news for having overcome your Lyme. Can you tell us a bit about
Yes, I'm a web journalist that is interested in everything that is weird, and I was the first technical guy he has ever interviewed, in fact, and he have heard of me, and he asked me to come, and he didn't know about Spooky, this remote transmission, which is a weird part of it. Frequency is quite understandable, but this remote thing, this is strange. So at the beginning he didn't know about Lyme disease, not that much, and he didn't expect to hear something about this remote thing. And it's a nice video he has made. It's a nice journalist, and the question were more and more precise during this half an hour we spent together. And the work after to publish this video is make a good one to see.
I've got the link here for this video interview that you had. If our viewers want to go to http, it's elevation.over dash or hyphen, I suppose, blog.net. So just repeating that again, http:// elevation.over-blog.net. If you search for the word spooky, it's the first video that comes up, and we've got young Sebastien being interviewed in that video, and it makes riveting viewing. It's really it's great that you're interviewed by someone. People, it's hard to believe that Spooky Remote actually works, but there's the proof in the pudding. And my training was formal, probably similar to yourself. You go to university, get your training, and you're not taught about remotes or remote treatments or frequencies that travel great distances. And actually, the frequencies don't travel; they occur instantaneously. And it just defies all logic. But if it works, you run with it. Now,
a clinical proof of it.
Yeah, clinical proof of it. You're walking, breathing proof. Okay, now we've got 10 minutes left of this webinar, so I'll go through some of the questions that have been posted to us. We've had some questions from Janice Schaefer. Hi, Janice. Good to see you. Well, we can't actually see you, but it's good to hear from you. You've asked, I believe, 7 questions, which is good. Now you're asking what other modalities were used to assist with the healing. We discussed the Cowden's essential oils, and was there anything else that you did to try and overcome Lyme?
About the food, I didn't change many things about what I eat or drink, because as a sportive guy, what I ate before was a good way to keep. So I didn't change many things. I cook everything I eat, so there's no prepared meal. And I've seen that it's a good way to do it, to cook what you're going to eat. I see yoga. I discovered yoga 6 months ago, and it's not that helped me to go better, but I've discovered that when I'm in yoga session, if I've got this remote treatment at the same time, the feeling is, I can feel it better.
Good.
It's just a sensation that something is working. So yoga has something, it's listen to your body plus. It works. When I've got this Rife session on yoga, I feel it better.
Good. Good.
Exercise, yes, I've rediscovered the pleasure of walking or jogging. So if I do a lot of exercise, it's very good against Lyme. And this is a circle that is bad, because exercise is useful against Lyme, but if you are sick, you can't do exercise. So it's really hard to do exercise when you are that sick. But I can see now that doing exercise brings something better for your health. But you have to be well enough to do that. To treat Lyme, I didn't use colloidal silver. I'm making some, but for cold or for small diseases of every day. I didn't use colloidal silver to treat my Lyme disease.
Okay.
No, that's it.
Okay. And Janice is asking in her second question, how often did you use the brain fog, the healing, and the Herx presets? Well, I assume that are presets to try and avoid Herx rather than,
I've never heard of these presets, and this word preset it's only 6 months old.
And of course, you're using the Spooky quite often before then, so
yeah.
It's before we'd implemented presets.
And as I said, the detox program, I didn't know, I was not aware about that, and I'm lucky to have this body that can get rid of many toxins by itself. So I do not know what X is ready, because I don't have any, and I didn't treat myself against brain fog. It was part of my symptoms, but by taking care of Borrelia and other bacteria, this brain fog goes out pretty soon, in fact, in less than 6 months.
Gosh.
Pretty fastly. So.
Did you add any programs to the programs that were only for Lyme? Janice is asking, did you add anything to the Morgellons and Lyme protocol to help recover?
I didn't get the question, sorry.
Oh, you ran the Morgellons protocol.
Yeah.
You've already said that you didn't run the last
virus things.
Oh, were there any other that you added? Or is that the...
No, I stick to the Morgellon protocol from the beginning to the 80% of it.
Close to the end until it got a little bit tiresome. And how many... She's asking, how many times did you go through the Morgellons and Lyme protocol to heal?
Can't remember exactly. I had to take that books. I had 2 or 3 times. Only 2 or 3 times.
That's not many, really, is it?
No, but I was so well after. And it's a slow, steady progress, but each time it was something better. Now, this is... I'm still getting better and better. I can remember things that are before that I couldn't remember anymore. So I feel that I'm getting better and better, but it's for subtle things now. My body is very healthy, in fact.
Yes.
So I'm in no pressure to do many efforts to get better. I know it's nearly finished for me.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. Did you do any biofeedback scans?
I tried this, but I was not that happy about it because it's a very long process to obtain some results. As it did not exist when I've discovered Spooky1, and I had my kind of diagnose by the time Spooky Pulse exists and the biofeedback exists. So I didn't feel like I had to diagnose again and again. Of course, maybe I'm missing one of the bacteria, but my body is taking care apparently of the rest of this bacteria, maybe out. So I don't need I didn't want to spend time with this feedback, biofeedback, because it's a very long process to obtain this few frequency.
Yeah, it is. You do have to sort of exercise a bit of patience. It's built into some of the presets which are existing in Spooky now. So it does. It's, as I understand it, is because you're using Spooky in such an early date, is before even Spooky Pulse was available, and so you started your treatments, found that they're successful, and didn't really see a need for using your biofeedback.
That's it. Thank you for this pronunciation.
Now, the sixth question that was asked by Janice was, how did you determine that you're healed by Lyme, or that you're making progress in your journey?
Because I feel better and better, and this brain fog I had, after some treatment, it go away for a few days. So this was sign that I did something good when the program was good. So this is really only by listening to my body. If I get tired just after program, it means that it touched something.
Okay.
This is by body listening, in fact, that I determined if I was concerned by if the program works for me.
Yes. Okay. After treating yourself and you're now obviously a different man from when you were very sick.
Yeah.
Have you returned to the doctors for further tests?
No, because I'm not so fond of doctors anymore, and I don't know how to go to a doctor explaining that I'm healthy and I want to check for CD57. I don't know what it is. So
it's some medical test.
So I don't know how to explain to the doctor that he has to do what I want. This is not the way doctor like things. They are to treat you. They are not here to hear you.
Right. We agree on this one, definitely. That's right. Now, doctors regard you when they see you walking through the door as an income. Not all doctors. In fact, I'd like to think that most doctors aren't like this, but from personal experience and the way that they sort of push me out the door as soon as my time was up, gives me the impression that, well, yes, they're running a business and I am part of that business. And without me being sick, they will have no income. And so I don't know whether our viewers agree with my personal point of view, but if I'm sick, I want to be healed. I don't want to control a sickness. I don't want to just take a painkiller if the source of my pain is through any sort of infection.
And this cost, if it's not a test that is useful, then it will cost you. I don't want to spend money on that.
No.
I know that I have Lyme, obviously, because treating it by non-standard method, it works to get rid of it. So I've got my diagnosis. I don't want to prove anything to doctors.
Okay.
They understand me. And we can talk about this, but now that I'm healthy, now that I'm confident in Spooky, using Spooky, a doctor asked me to teach how to use Spooky to other doctors, and I was pleased to see 10 doctors in front of me listening to other methods to treat disease. So that's a nice victory in a way.
It is. There's a story, the 100 Monkeys story, where it was observed that this monkey on an island started using a tool, I believe, to get some fruit. I may have it wrong, but the overall story is correct. One monkey invented a method of getting the food. Washing fruit. One monkey started washing fruit. That's right. And then another monkey started, observing and started washing the fruit, copying the other monkey. And what the researchers found is that after 100 monkeys were doing it on this island, that practice spread to other islands without any interaction between the islands. And so we're hoping that Spooky grows to more than 100 monkeys, so that the medical establishment realise, well, okay, they don't believe in it, they think it's rubbish, but there's nothing lost, and there's certainly a lot to gain. And so once we pass that 100 monkeys mark, we'll be very happy. We've had a few questions in from Jeffrey. Jeffrey's a young man from China. He's asking us, he asked us quite a few questions, so we'll answer them quite briefly, because remember at the beginning we were worried whether we were going to have enough to talk about. We always seem to run out of time, but it happens if you're enjoying the subject, and I'm really enthralled with what you have to talk about. Jeffrey is asking, what is Lyme disease?
It's a cocktail of bacteria coming from ticks.
Yes.
It's strong bacteria that can change form inside the body. This is why they are such difficult to kill.
Yes, it's quite dreadful. Now you've answered the second question.
Yeah.
So, he's asking, can you get Lyme disease more than once? That's quite a good question, because we do get, people have written books how they've overcome Lyme. Is it possible for their bodies, have got the antibodies for the pathogens? Can they become reinfected with Lyme?
I'm pretty sure, yes, because these bacteria have many cousins. It's not exactly the same bacteria, even if it's the same name, Borrelia or Bartonella.
Right.
It can be another family, sort of. So the Borrelia from Europe is not the same from US, for example. So yes, I'm sure you can get sick again with Lyme if it's not the same, or if you open your body to it in a way. I don't know how to explain this in a few words, but I had to feel it's not only a problem with the body. If you depress, you open doors to disease, in fact.
Absolutely.
So it happened to me. I've got some trouble from in 2012. I feel not depressed, but I was sad, and Lyme catch me. It was inside me, but I could deal with this disease before, and in 2012, and it takes this moment when I was sad, and then I get really sick after. So yes, I think you can get sick again, even with the same Lyme disease before, if you are not ready to fight.
Okay, so you've got to have the right frame mind, be strong, possibly think positive thoughts, and
I don't know how it works, but apparently it's part of being better.
Okay. Jeffrey's asking, is Lyme disease permanent? But I think you're living proof that it can be overcome.
I'm still concerned, but I found a way to have an healthy day-to-day routine. So.
Right. Okay. During the talk, the period of our talk, Jeffrey, we've answered pretty much all of your questions. You did ask the question, what does Lyme disease look like on the skin? I guess you're talking about once you get the bite from the tick, or I guess other blood-sucking animal, they discovered mosquitoes. Where was that? In Canada?
So there's no reason why a mosquito can't give you Lyme disease.
Yes.
So yes, it's a spread bacteria disease. So
Okay.
Even during intercourses, you should get Lyme disease if the opportunity is there. So it's a bacteria. There's no reason why you can't get it from mosquitoes or your lover.
Right, right.
French doctors don't talk about this for French community. It's only ticks, but there's no reason why it's not possible the other ways. So yes, you can get Lyme disease with mosquito, I'm sure of this.
We touched on that bit in that earlier. You were saying, like in France, your experience with doctors hasn't been terrifically positive. I know that in other countries it's pretty much the same. I guess the doctors are only doing what they've been trained to do, and maybe the training hasn't kept up to date with the latest findings. Maybe their training is being sponsored by people who want to supply the medications for treatment of the diseases. But for whatever reason, in many countries, Lyme disease either doesn't exist or has to you've got to jump through so many hoops and hurdles that to become positively diagnosed as having Lyme. It's basically it doesn't, very few cases are reported because of this.
And about the doctor, even if they want to treat you against Lyme,
yes,
if they do against a established protocol that exists in France, they can lose their job because they will be controlled, and they will lose their job if they are controlled not following the right protocol. So it's doctors are doing what they could. That's true.
Okay.
They are following protocols that have to be followed. If they're not following this protocol established by the medical cares in France, they can lose their job. So it's not an easy job for them. If they believe in Lyme, if they know that some treatment exists, it's not easy for them. Sorry.
Sure, and they've got families to support, so they don't want to lose, their certification. It's quite a sad state of affairs. They can be treating using their standard method, which has been stipulated by the people that they report to, but maybe they could complement it with, say, a remote treatment session. But if this ever gets discovered, of course, they risk losing their license. So maybe the problem is higher up. Maybe it's not the doctors. I like to think it's not.
I hope so.
Now, we've got Cherry asked one question. What can we do to prevent Lyme? Is there any precautions? Let's say you want to go tramping and you're aware that there are ticks in the area. Now, for our viewers that aren't aware, it's mostly deer that seem to be the carrier for Lyme, and the ticks go from the deer to humans. They wait on the grass until some lucky tramper walks past, and they jump aboard. But if you're going into the area, is there anything you can do to prevent?
Yes, long trousers on your socks on the bottom of the trousers, for example. You cover yourself. It's important not to be with the legs open, for example. And you have to carry this small thing. Sorry, I didn't.
A tweezers?
No, to remove the ticks.
Like a tweezer, like a little.
Yeah. I really should have a hit. I've got one here.
Okay.
This is easy to get rid of ticks, even if he bites you. If you do it with your hands. It's not that easy. And it's dangerous because if you push too hard, you're going to kill it, and what it has inside its body go through your body. So it's important to remove it with this tool. Right. It's like taking out a nail from a wood.
Yes, so I understand. So it's like a bee sting, because a bee sting, quite often, well, almost always, the poison sac gets left behind, and with the sting, the bee flies off and doesn't live very much long after that. But the poison sac, if you remove it by squeezing it and then pulling it out, you're pushing poison into your skin. So I guess it's very much like that. You're squeezing the body of the tick and the poisons, the bacteria.
And if you leave the ticks, of course, at one moment everything is changed. So this is the other way to have this bacteria inside you.
Okay.
So and after you remove the ticks, there are essential oils that you can use to be sure that any bacteria in this area will be killed.
Okay. I know that tea tree oil is quite a good antibacterial, and there's many others as well. Before you, can you put like a oil before you go tramping? Is that of any benefit?
Against mosquito, yes, there are things, but against ticks, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Not sure.
I know that ticks are quite aggressive. They bury the head under your skin, the whole head. So,
and you can't feel the bite. You don't feel it.
No.
With the mosquito, it's nearly too late when you feel it. But with these ticks, you just feel something under your. When you touch yourself, you think that there is something that shouldn't be there, but you can't feel the bite.
Right. Young Penny has asked some questions. Some of your questions, Penny, have been answered already, but you have asked a question, is there an age where you can get Lyme easier? She's asking, is it mostly children or mostly older people? Not suggesting that you're old, Sebastien, you're anything but old, but that's...
I think everyone has to be concerned to be careful, children or old people. So I can't really answer this question, I'm not sure, but I know that children can be sick with Lyme disease from before they were born, because the mother is sick with Lyme disease.
Yes.
So there's no age. You can get sick at any age.
And sick at any fitness levels, because you are basically an athlete and you're doing a hiking, you had good muscle tone and strength, and you got sick. So I guess, Penny, that it doesn't really matter what age you are. Everyone is susceptible to being bitten by an animal, and if it's a tick, then you're very unlucky.
And I've heard that some people get really, really sick, worse than me at my worst, in only a few weeks after a bite. So it took me about 6 months to be that bad that I had to consider myself sick, but it can be very, very fast. So depend on maybe the bacteria, I don't know exactly.
Right.
On what it depends.
Okay, well that concludes our summer session. We've gone through all the questions and answered them, and we've done our thing now. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching this. It's hosted in Sebastien's home. He's been a wonderful host for Spooky, a great ambassador, in fact. Yesterday we had a conference, a Spooky conference, held just a walk away from his home, where we had Spooky users. Some of these users came from quite a distance in France, and it's wonderful to meet these people, shake their hands, answer their questions. As I said in the conference, yesterday was my birthday, and meeting all these wonderful people, these new friends now, was my birthday present, and it was great. The Spooky movement is growing. We've got one more country to go to before we head off back home to China. We're going to Poland. We've got a large user base there, And I'll be meeting people that I've corresponded with quite a bit and not actually met face to face. So we're all looking forward to that. But Sebastien, thank you so much for your hospitality here. I'm sorry. When you first placed an order with me, as I said before, I could remember you. I remember writing down your name and sending it off. You might have been the very first person who bought anything for Spooky. So thank you very much. And to see you now, healthy, strong, fit, and your mind is as agile as could possibly be. And it's hard to believe that you've, at one time, you're in the hospital on your back with suffering from these Lyme infections. So I'm very, very happy for you. I'm very happy that Spooky could have helped.
Thank you.
And so I hope our viewers have gained from this interview. If you have any further questions, if you're viewing this video from YouTube or some other site, you can email us directly at Sama@Spooky. This one, what's the email?
Sama@spooky2-small.com.
Right, it's Sama@spooky2-small.com. That's the website if you've got anything to ask for discussing any points that were covered in this video. So once again, thank you, Sebastien. Thank you for this this healthy drink. The wine in France is très magnifique. Very nice and very soothing. We were doing the practice run at 2:30 in the morning. I couldn't have got by now without some of this healthy drink. Would you say that were you drinking any wine whilst you were treating yourself?
No, you shouldn't recommend that.
Shouldn't recommend that at all. Okay.
Not at all. It's important to feel well. So if you want to eat some chocolate because it's important for you, yes, go for it.
Okay.
No excess, but
it's
important to have some, to enjoy your time. So
yes,
it's a compromise.
I guess so. If you're depressed, then your body's not going to naturally heal itself so fast. So you've got to be good up here before you get good down there. Well, thank you once again.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. And viewers, goodbye.
Goodbye. Au revoir.
Au revoir.